Bhishtai Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Sahanti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prashaline Nivasisha Sunyavadi Pashtachari Satanine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So let's continue with this wonderful dramatic story of Gobal Kumar, who's now hearing about Raj. Let me just share now. I got ready.
Is this a fiction or is it real? It happened in real life?
Oh, the story itself. No, it's actually happened.
It actually happened.
Yeah, it's a divine revelation. It's spoken of about the actual details of the revelation. As far as I remember, it's spoken of in the beginning. So for more details of that, if you have a copy, if you go to the introduction,
okay,
it explains. But I've had that question as well, because sometimes Vaishnavas write epics or write stories to illustrate philosophical points. Bhaktivinoda Thakur does that.
Yeah,
like that. It uses it as a vehicle to illustrate philosophical and points of tattva. So they create characters and things like that. But as far as I understand, this is a divine revelation is actual and actual count.
okay.
But your question has made me interested to, after this session, I'm going to go back to the introduction and make sure of that. All right. I won't do it now because it takes too long.
Yes, I know. I'll do it afterwards as well.
Yeah.
So
And then we can, see. Unless someone else out here knows exactly.
Mohini might know.
Do you know Mohini?
Wondering the same thing. When I was reading the part one, I thought it's so beautifully described. It's lovely, and I'm thinking, was it for is it factual or is it?
Oh, yeah.
Is it? Yeah, but I didn't kind of question it further. I just read on. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Good enough
to know.
for me. Yeah, it's good enough for me. Whatever it is, it's great.
Yeah, it takes you to another. It takes you to the spiritual world. So that's good enough for me.
Yeah. All right. So here I'm sharing now. Hopefully, I'm sharing. So you can see double page with sloka 127. I hope. Yes. I guess that means yes. No one said no. All right. So let's continue reading then. Someone, as usual, would like to read.
Okay, I'll do it.
Thank you, Mother. Thank you.
All right, text 127, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The Lord disposed of Dhanuka and his relatives in the Talvan and met at dusk with the women of Vraj. These pastimes I cannot adequately praise. I can only offer them my respects. Commentary. Because the cowherd boys wanted to eat the fruits of tal trees and play with them as balls, they asked Krishna and Balram to rid the Talvan forest of the ass demons who refused to allow anyone to enter. And Krishna and Balram did so. After such sports, when Krishna came home in the evening at the entrance of Nanda Maharaja's village, he would be greeted by his family and friends, including the young gopis. Lord Krishna's hair, powdered with the dust raised by the cows, was decorated with a peacock feather and forest flowers. The Lord glanced charmingly and smiled beautifully, playing upon his flute while his companions chanted his glories. The gopis all together came forward to meet him. Their eyes were very eager to see him. With their bee-like eyes, the women of Vrindavan drank the honey of the beautiful face of Lord Mukunda, and thus they gave up the distress they had felt during the day because of the separation from him. The young Vrindavan ladies cast sidelong glances at the Lord, glances filled with bashfulness, laughter, and submission, And Sri
One
Krishna,
second, Baba. I can't change the page for some reason. Oh, I just changed the page. We moved too quick. Okay, go on. Carry on.
glances filled with bashfulness, laughter, and submission, and Sri Krishna completely accepting these glances as a proper offering of respect, entered the cowherd village. Narad feels unable to describe such intimate exchanges between Krishna and his devotees, either because words are incapable of capturing the essence of these pastimes, or because Narad fears that if he says more than a few words about each pastime, he will become too ecstatic and lose control of himself. Now, therefore, unable to freely offer elaborate service to these pastimes, he simply offers them obeisances with his words.
Yeah, this is a favorite meditation of Vaishnavas. Of course, all of Krishna's pastimes are a favorite meditation, but specifically the festival, which it is, the festival of his coming back from the forest, and also the divine anguish for Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj for Krishna's leaving in the morning to herd the cows and calves. It's quite a drama. So as you can imagine, they're all expecting Krishna's return, eagerly looking to the horizon. And the first thing they see, what's the first thing they see that gives them indication Krishna's coming back?
Dust, cloud.
Dust. Yeah. And that dust sits beautifully on Krishna's blackish hair, like rays, like silver glints as he comes back in. So to see the dust. And remember rightly, Radharani and the gopis, they go up to the moon tower, which was built by Rishabhanu for Radharani's pleasure, the highest advantage point, and they look out very eagerly. Yeah, so it's quite a nice, wonderful meditation. Krishna's coming and going. Yeah. All right.
Text 128. The sport that the son of Yashoda enjoyed in the lake of Kaliya disturbs me so much with both sorrow and joy that I can't bear to remember it. How then can I recount it to you? Commentary. Remembering the violence done by Kaliya made Narad sad, but remembering how Krishna tamed Kaliya by dancing on his hood enlivened him. When the Lord's anger swelled, what a punishment he gave to that wicked, cruel-hearted creature, and what joy the Lord felt when he performed his festival of dancing on the stage of that serpent's upraised hoods. Kaliya had the arrogance to grasp with his filthy coil the divine body of the Supreme Person, thus causing great anxiety to the Lord's devotees. Kaliya's heart was full of wicked pride, and he felt no shame raising his hoods high in the air. Therefore, Krishna gave him a fitting punishment. He turned Kaliya's hood into a dancing stage and gleefully pommeled the serpent into submission. Text 130. Even
Yeah, anyone, so let's just stop there. Anyone could add some highlights to that pastime that you remember? Krishna Kaliya, killing Kaliya. Any little snippets of detail?
well, the way Krishna pounded on his hood, he jumped from one to another. All the poison came out, and later he was a poisonless snake then.
Yeah, he's the Bharat Natyam on Kaliya's head. Yeah, sometimes you see paintings for Krishnas like this. He's dancing on Kaliya's head. Yeah. Anybody else? Some details of this Leela?
But the anxiety it caused to Rajvasi, especially Yashoda, when she fainted.
Wow. We cannot imagine how much love and affection that she has for her darling Krishna.
Yeah.
Even him being out of her eyesight for 1 second. And here he is in these coils is this great many-hooded serpent. So she goes into great ecstasy of fear. Yeah, I forget. Yeah. And I think the residents of Raj, then they want to run into the Yamuna to endeavor to save Krishna, but Balaram stops them. Yeah. And Balaram's cool, man, because he knows it's all under control. He knows. Don't worry, it's all under control. But they're all kind of in divine, going through quite a lot of emotion. Yeah.
Yeah. That day, Balram didn't go out with the,
Oh, you're right, isn't it?
yes, because it was his birthday.
Was that
and
Balaram?
Balram, he was kept at home.
No,
No,
sure, that was on
Agasura.
Brahman.
Sorry, yes, my fault.
Probably Mohan Leela.
Yeah, that was then.
Probably
Okay,
Mohan Leela.
Balaram stops everybody. Yashoda. Don't worry about it. He's fine. He's going to be fine. Krishna's going to be fine. He's the one who pacifies everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I got mixed up.
That's no problem. And then Kaliya's interesting demon because he's one of the only ones that Krishna doesn't actually kill. He just sends him away from Vraj. So well, that's quite that could be a death sentence, being told to leave Vraj. But he doesn't actually kill him. And then we have the wives, the wives of Kaliya. Sometimes they're painted as half serpent and with exactly what form they have is always interesting. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, his wives offer prayers on his behalf. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So
He wasn't sent by Kansa. He came.
oh no, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't Sam. We know that whole pastime. We won't go into it. It'd take too long. But he was Kaliya was made an offense, isn't it? Is that right? So he's Garudaji.
Yeah.
Stopped him having Bashad. Fish Bashad. All right. Let's edge on.
Text 130. Even Anantasesh is unable to describe such punishment and mercy to the serpent's many wives who offered Krishna prayers and worship, and to Kaliya himself, I bow down. Kaliya received the severe punishment of having his heads crushed by the Supreme Lord's heels, and simultaneously the exquisite mercy of obtaining the dust of Krishna's lotus feet on those same heads. The dust of Krishna's feet is the rarest treasure. Even the original 1,000-headed serpent, Anantashesh, has difficulty, therefore, expressing the glories of the mercy Kaliya received. But Kaliya's wife managed to describe it in their humble prayers. Text 131. The pastimes of the forest fire took place on the shore of the same lake, and a pastime with an even greater fire took place in the forest known as Manja. In the Bhandir forest, the clever arrangements of sporting magnified the glories of Balram, the Lord's elder brother. May all these pastimes expand our good fortune. Krishna twice saved the cowherd boys from a forest fire, and the second fire was even more amazing than the first. In that emergency, Krishna told his friends to simply close their eyes and he would save them. And then suddenly they found themselves transported to Bhandirvan. While the boys played in that forest, Lord Balram especially showed his glories. Krishna defeated in the wrestling, carried Sridama on his back, and victorious Balaram was carried by Pralambasura, whom Balram then killed.
Yeah, and apologies. I'm trying to move the page, but I'm clicking on it and it's not responding. So it's taking a few seconds to respond. I've no idea what's going on. But just to let you know, that's why the page is not changing when it should do. I'm banging the buttons here, nothing's happening. So, yes. All right. Okay, carry on.
Okay. Text 132. All glories to his pastimes in the rainy season, like his resting at the feet of the trees, and to his autumnal pastimes, enhanced by the beauty of the forest, which heaped the pain of Cupid's torment on the women of Vraj. Commentary. During the rains, Krishna enjoyed this such seasonal pastime as sitting at the base of trees, eating white radishes, and joining his friends on the tops of big rocks to feast on yogurt rice. When the next season commenced, the beauty of the forest increased luxuriantly, expanding the pleasure of Krishna's pastimes and increasing the disturbance the girls of Vraj felt from the arrows of Cupid, as described by Sukadeva Goswami in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:20-45. The people could forget their suffering by embracing the wind coming from the flower-filled forest, a wind neither hot nor cold. But the gopis could not, for their hearts had been stolen by Krishna.
Yes, they're burning in a fire of separation. So no cold wind can cool that yearning to be with Krishna. All right, now I'm going to try and change the page. Can you hear this noise? Click, click, click.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. That's me trying to change. Wonder if there's any way I can do it another way. Oh, okay, I found a way to do it. Okay, Hare Krishna. That problem is now gone. Hare Krishna.
Text 133. When will I see with my own eyes the way he dresses in the forest attire, steals everyone's heart with the downpour of sweetness from the music of his flute, and enchants all the cowherd girls. About the personality of Godhead's forest dress, Sukadeva Goswami says,
Padam natava vapa kanayo kanikaram pipratva sakana kakapisham vaichayanti chamalam randram venu adara satyam paran gopa vrindai vindaranyam swapada ramanam bhavishyat kita kitihi. I learned this verse a few years ago and I forgot it a few years ago as well. So so I'm going over it again. This is one of my Guru Maharaj brings out. This is from Venu Gita. You know, the gopis glorify the flute. And this is, again, this is one of the most exquisite, according to Vaishnav connoisseurs of Krishna's pastimes. This is one of the most exquisite descriptions of Krishna. And it's used as a, what's the word? It's used, mantra upasana. Mantra upasana means those who are, those who are chanting nicely, they may meditate upon this while they're chanting. Mantra upasana. Can try. Hare Krishna. Okay, you can read it. We keep everyone on the edge of their seat. You want to hear it?
Okay. Wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue karnikar flowers on his ears, a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and the Vajayanti garland, Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers as he entered the forest of Vrindavan, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sang his glories. Bhagavatam 10:21-5. The most expert analysis of the glories of Krishna's flute are the gopis, and many of their authoritative statements about those glories are recorded in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. For example, in the 21st chapter, in the 8th text, beginning with this one.
Venu Gita. Yeah.
Venu Gita. My dear gopis, what auspicious activities must the flute have performed to enjoy the nectar of Krishna's lips independently and leave only a taste for us gopis, for whom that nectar is actually meant. The forefathers of the flute, the bamboo trees, shed tears of pleasure. His mother, the river on whose bank the bamboo was born, feels jubilation, and therefore her blooming lotus flowers are standing like hair on her body. The gopis, in their constant praise of Krishna, frequently return to the theme of the enchanting power of his flute. My dear friends, as Krishna and Balram pass through the forest with their cowherd friends, leading their cows, they carry the ropes to bind the cows' rear legs at the time of milking. When Lord Krishna plays on his flute, the sweet music makes the moving, living entities become stunned and the non-moving trees tremble with ecstasy. These things are certainly very wonderful. Bhagavatam 10, 21, 19. More than anything else, the sound of Krishna's flute most fully expresses the essence of his sweetness, madhurya. So the wonders of Krishna's flute playing will be elaborated even more in the description of the sweetness of all of Krishna's excellent qualities. Ashesha Mahatva Madhuri. It was particularly in autumn that Krishna stole the hearts of the gopis by playing the flute. While speaking about the arrival of autumn in Vrindavan, Sri Sukadeva Goswami says, when the young ladies in the cowherd village of Vraj heard the song of Krishna's flute, which arouses the influence of Cupid, some of them privately began describing Krishna's qualities to their intimate friends. Thank you. That's done.
Oh, so yeah, we read together, isn't it, a little while ago, the Venu Gita.
Yes.
We read
Last
that.
year? I think was it
Yeah.
last year? Yeah.
And for those who are attentive to our outfits, we have one outfit dedicated to this chapter, Venu Gita outfit. You can keep an eye out for that. The outfit has all flutes on it, and the backdrop has each of these which Radharani glorifies: the clouds, the peacocks, the deer, etc. She glorifies them as being more fortunate than herself. Yeah. So that you can look out for the outfit, right? And sorry?
What color are they? Then we can look out for the color.
It's a cream color. It's got gold. It's cream. It's a beautiful quality outfit. It's cream color, and it's got gold suganza. What's it called? Gold filigree on it.
And it's purple, light purple.
Yeah, it's called the Venu Gita.
Yeah.
So you can look at that. And you can remember this
outfit.
from past time. Yeah, and I just remember one detail from that here, this verse. At this point, all the many gopis, they're not all collectively aware that they all have a crush on the same person, Krishna. That's why they're gathering, they gather in little private groups and all speaking about Krishna, all of them. But they're not aware that all of them at this stage are all speaking about Krishna. As I described, that some of them privately began describing Krishna's qualities to their intimate friends. So there's different groups of gopis gathered together and to speak. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else would like to read from text 1, 3, 4?
I can read.
Go ahead. Thank you, Mom.
Okay, sorry, I'm doing it from the phone, so okay. Text 134. How wonderfully he enjoyed the festival of stealing the clothes of the young girls. He climbed quickly to the top of a kadamba tree and spoke joking words to the girls. And after they offered respects with joined palms and submitted their requests, he gave back the garments he had placed on his shoulder. Commentary. In the festival of stealing the gopis' clothes, Krishna had the opportunity to share with the gopis some humorous words. My dear girls, you may each come here as you wish and take back your garments. I am telling you the truth, and I am not joking with you. Since I see you're fatigued from executing austere vows, Bhagavatam 10:22-10, Krishna ordered the girls to come forward one by one and ask for their garments. When the Supreme Lord saw how the gopis were struck with embarrassment, he was satisfied by their pure loving affection. Putting their clothes on his shoulder, the Lord smiled and spoke to them affectionately. You girls bathe naked while executing your vow, and that is certainly an offense against the demigods. To counteract your sin, you should offer obeisances while placing your joined palms above your heads. Then you should take back your lower garments. Bhagavatam 10:22-18-19.
Yeah, this is a wonderful. I think we know this pastime. It's a wonderful, sweet pastime. If we can really understand the truth of Krishna, it's so sweet. But if we misunderstand Krishna, it will cause utter confusion. If we understand, there is no trace of lust in the spiritual world.
No.
It's all just Krishna satisfying the desires of these young girls. And the way he does it is so charming that you can imagine they cannot, after this pastime with Krishna, the way that Krishna deals with them, there's nothing, there's no one else, nothing else they can think of. Krishna played and kind of, joked with them in that way. As you know, we won't go into details about it. They was trying to hide themselves with their hair, wasn't it? Then Krishna said, you should put your hands above your head. So Krishna is enjoying Krishna's Rasaraj. He's enjoying greatly the love and affection, because they did a great vow, isn't it? They were bathing in the Jamuna in the frigid cold and eating very simply. What's that called? Vrata, what's it called, that Vrat?
Katyayani, yeah.
Yeah, Katayani Vrata. They was praying to a form of toga to get Krishna as their husband. And that was considered then that their relationship was as intimate as a husband and wife. Yeah, the actual pastime, Krishna fulfilled their desire. Yeah. So what's it called in Sanskrit, that Leela? Anyone know, can tell us, remind us again? Vastra Harana. I said Vastra Harana Leela. Stealing. Huh?
Vastrapaharan.
Vastaharan. Is that right? Yeah, stealing the Vastra, the clothes of the gopis. Yeah, what a tricky fellow, huh?
Only Krishna can do that.
Yeah, only Krishna can do that. Yeah, very tricky fellow. Okay.
Text 135. I glorify his pastimes of begging food from the sacrificial brahmanas, attracting the brahmanas. Oh, sorry, there's a message come through. Sorry, it's going in a minute. Sorry. I glorify the pastimes of begging food from the sacrificial brahmanas, attracting the brahmanas' wives and gracefully eating the food the wives offered. I glorify how he decorated himself and how he stood, spoke, and bestowed his mercy. Wearing a peacock feather, colored minerals, sprig of flower buds, and a garland of forest flowers and leaves, he was dressed just like a dramatic dancer. His complexion was dark blue and his garment golden. He rested one hand upon the shoulder of a friend, and with the other twirled a lotus. Lilies graced his ears, his hair hung down over his cheeks, and his lotus-like face was smiling. Bhagavatam 10:23-22. Sukadev Goswami also describes how Krishna spoke. Welcome, O most fortunate ladies. Please sit down and make yourselves comfortable. What can I do for you? That you have come here to see me is most appropriate. Bhagavatam 10:23-25. We also hear about the special mercy Krishna showed the Brahmanas' wives by blessing them. Rest assured that your husbands will not be inimical towards you, nor will your fathers, brothers or sons, your other relatives or the general populace. I will personally advise them of the situation. Indeed, even the demigods will express their approval. Bhagavatam 10:23-31. The love the wives of those Vedic Brahmanas had for Krishna far exceeded the standards of worldly affection. Even the Brahmanas themselves recognized this, as Sukadev Goswami tells us. Taking note of their wives' pure transcendental devotion for Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and seeing their own lack of devotion, the Brahmanas felt most sorrowful and began to condemn themselves. Bhagavatam 10:23-39. The remorseful Brahmanas were unable to lovingly approach Krishna, and as did their wives, but they did learn to admire their wives' Krishna consciousness. Just see the unlimited love these women have developed for Lord Krishna, the spiritual master of the entire universe. That love has broken for them the very bonds of death, their attachment to family life. Bhagavatam 10:23-42. Krishna also demonstrated noble grace in accepting food as charity from the Brahmanas' wives. Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, fed the cowherd boys with that food of 4 varieties. Then the all-powerful Lord himself partook of the preparation. Bhagavatam 10:23-36.
So these are all pastimes that we're familiar with, isn't it? Seems this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, all of these pastimes. And there's one small detail about this pastime that I remember, which I found interesting. The wives of the Brahmanas, they wanted to go with Krishna. They did not want to go back to their families, They wanted to leave everything and just go with Krishna and be with Krishna. But one of the reasons why Krishna said no, and he gave them reassurances as well, everything will be all right, don't worry, is that they were Brahmins. So it wouldn't look good socially for Brahmanis, or, wives of Brahmanas, to leave their husbands. It would cause too much, it would be too much socially. So, a little detail. So that's one of the reasons they didn't, Krishna didn't agree with their proposal. Yeah.
Shall I carry on?
Yeah. Anyone has any other, anyone has any details you remember from these pastimes, then please let us know. Perhaps we'll ask for this one. Any details you remember of this Leela? Test your Krishna book.
Just the wives were so devoted to Krishna, and husbands were performing Vedic ritualistics.
Yeah.
You can Vedic, and that is spontaneous devotion. The minute they came, they just surrendered to the Lord Krishna. And the Brahmanas were so 2 types of relationships.
Yeah. So this also highlights those who are attached to Vedic rituals over and above attachment and devotion to Krishna. I mean, the whole point of the Vedas is to bring one to loving, affectionate love for Krishna. But here these Brahmanas become overwhelmed with their rituals and their rules. So they couldn't heed the call. They couldn't, they wouldn't give any charity. Yeah. And it's after this pastime, after this pastime is Govardhan, Krishna lifting Govardhan hill, because Krishna is further emphasizing the point, because Nanda Maharaja is following the ritual of worshipping Indra. As you know, Krishna tells him, stop that. He just worship Govardhan. So it comes just after this pastime. So Krishna's further emphasizing that point. You just engage in loving devotion to me. Don't be over-attached to the rituals of the Vedas. Not that we neglect them completely, they do play a role. I mean, even in our temple, we go through rituals when we offer arti and we close the curtains and we ring the bell. You know, if the person's offering arti and they're not ringing the bell, then there's going to be complaints. He's not ringing the bell. Yeah, it's ritual. Right? There's one devotee at the moment. He's lovely on my case to get on the case of some pujaris at the manor because of the way they're not cleaning their hands properly when they offer arti. Yeah, he's observing that they're not actually cleaning their hands properly during arti. So that's the ritual. Ritual is also known as tantra. Tantra is ritual. So we do have ritual, but we don't just have ritual. We should be offering the items to Krishna with love and devotion. Yeah. Yeah, but the Brahmins couldn't comprehend. They didn't have the adhikar, and they couldn't. Yeah, they couldn't. Because also, when you chant Vedic mantras, I might have mentioned this before, then you are not supposed to stop when you start. It's an offense. So the Brahmanas were doing the right thing. Just like the Purusha Shukta prayers, you know, those might be familiar with them. It's an offense to stop halfway. You have to complete the whole recital. And similarly, you mustn't rock back and forwards. You mustn't, you know, when you're reciting, a person shouldn't walk in front of the Brahmanas while they're chanting the mantras. It's considered an offense. Yeah. So that's
Sorry, Prabhu, if somebody disturbs you chanting mantras,
yeah.
And you have to stop because we're disturbing you.
Yeah, no, he's right. It's a good question. But the holy name, this adds glory to the holy name where there is no hard and fast rules. That's why when devotees chant the holy name, they jump up and down like madmen. They spin round in circles and they do all types of acrobatics and they go wild in either their youthful enthusiasm or their Krishna prema. You can choose which one it might be.
Yes, but Prabhu, if before you do arati, there are plenty of mantras, cleansing and whatever. If somebody disturbs or offering food or offering something, if somebody disturbs you chanting mantras.
Yeah, you shouldn't disturb. If a Brahman is chanting Gayatri, for instance, you should be you should be aware what the Brahmanas are doing. You shouldn't want to disturb their chanting of the mantra. But if you're chanting Gayatri and your guru walks in the door, you should stop your chanting of Gayatri and pay obeisances to him. It would be an offense not to. Yeah, there's a detail there. Yeah. He is the one who's gave you the mantra, especially in a setting where you may not have seen your guru for like 2 years and you're chanting Gayatri and he comes in the room and you don't pay obeisances. That's called Guru Avagya. Yeah. Even if you're offering arti and your guru comes into the temple, you can stop offering arti and go to greet him. Yeah. Go to greet him. That's a special prerogative of the guru, the one who's given you the mantras, the one who's engaging you in that service and has given you the mantras. Yeah. But anyway, the Brahmanas, that's one of the reasons they just ignored the cowherd boys. You know, they didn't say yes or no. They just ignored them because that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to not be disturbed, except if someone comes asking for something for Krishna and Balaram, then you should. Yeah. All right. And there's anyway. Yeah. All right. Should we read a little bit more? You can read a bit more. 136, is that right?
Yes, text 136.
Yes.
I offer my homage to all his attractively worshipping Govardhan hill. He's holding up the great hill with his left hand. He's satisfying the cowherds, consoling Indra, and accepting coronation as Govinda, the Lord of the cows. Commentary. Krishna's intention is always to please his devotees. After he held Govardhan Hill aloft for 7 days just for their benefit, their satisfaction knew no bounds. All the residents of Vrindavan were overwhelmed with ecstatic love, and they came forward and greeted Sri Krishna according to their individual relationships with him, some embracing him, others bowing down to him, and so forth. The cowherd women presented water mixed with yogurt and unbroken barley corns as a token of honor, and they showered auspicious benedictions upon him. Bhagavatam 10:25-29. Krishna's miraculous feat of lifting Govardhan Hill left the Vrajvasis confused about who Krishna really was, but Nanda Maharaj was able to dispel their bewilderment and give them great satisfaction by repeating what Garga Muni had said at Krishna's name-giving ceremony about Krishna's identity. Having heard Nanda Maharaj relate the statement of Garga Muni, the residents of Vrindavan became enlivened. Their perplexity was gone, and they worshipped Nanda and Lord Krishna with great respect. Bhagavatam 10:26-24. As we hear from Sri Parasha Rishi in the Vishnu Puran, after Krishna lifted Govardhan, he also satisfied the Vrajvasis with encouraging words.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say something, but I was muted. Here, Garga Muni is very tactful here. When he explains to them, he says he is just like Vishnu. He is just like Vishnu. What he knew, he was the source of Vishnu. So that's why he told, as far as I can remember rightly, he will exhibit the opulences of Vishnu. So he will protect Vraja, etc. To be free from all dangers, even if dangers come, then by the blessings of Krishna, who's just like Vishnu. So they think he's just received some, they think, oh, he's a special person who's got some blessings from Vishnu. Yeah.
Did he give Krishna's name? Did Garga Muni give Krishna's name at the name giving?
It's a name giving ceremony, isn't it? Krishna.
Yeah.
Anyone can knows that detail. Name giving ceremony, and I guess
Yeah,
we have to look at that.
Yeah.
I guess it must be Krishna. He would be called.
Repeating what Garga Muni had said at Krishna's name-giving ceremony about Krishna's identity. I'm just assuming that he gave the name.
Yeah. Well, let's assume that for now. It might not be so, but let's assume that. Okay, we're going to move that page.
My dear cowherds, if you are not embarrassed to be related to me, and if I deserve praise, then why get perplexed? If you have affection for me and I'm worthy of your praise, then just think of me as your dear relative. I am no god or Gandharva or Yaksha or Danava, but am simply your family member. You should not think otherwise.
Yeah, so Krishna's making sure they don't get the wrong idea. Don't go into the wrong mood. As we know, as we heard, Krishna very much relishes this mood of affection which the Vrajvasis shower on Krishna as a so-called ordinary person, but an extraordinary person of their village, an extra beautiful person, an extra charming person, but not God.
Text 137. Yeah. I am unable to properly describe his super excellent pastimes of showing the abodes of Vaikuntha to the residents of Vraj and rescuing Nanda Maharaj from Varuna's realm. And how can I ever express in words the sweet way he showed himself to be the Supreme Godhead? Commentary. Krishna proved himself God in one way when he revealed Vaikuntha to the Vrajvasis, and another way when he commanded the powerful demigod Varuna to release his father. But Krishna displayed his supremacy in the greatest way when he conducted the all-attractive pastime of charming the gopis with his flute song and enjoying with them in the rasa dance. This will be discussed later on under the topic of Asesa Mahatva Madhuri. the sweetness of all Krishna's excellent qualities.
Yeah, so sometimes Krishna would, as it's described here, showed himself to be, well, to be the Supreme Godhead. That's to us who are hearing his pastimes. Okay? But sometimes he would, as we know, lifting Govardhan Hill, etc., Mother Yasoda, seeing the universes within his mouth. But their affection for Krishna on the spontaneous loving platform was so deep that any display of godhood couldn't change their intimate affection for Krishna and their specific relationships with him. Krishna being dependent upon, for instance, Mother Yasoda, it was so deep that they would put it to one side as being, perhaps it's just this special place from Vrindavan which is creating these illusions, and our son is blessed by the dust of Vraj, etc. I mean, we all know, yeah, to lift Govardhan Hill, etc. Yeah, they're so immersed in the ocean of Krishna's sweetness that any display of godhood doesn't disturb that. Okay, can we read one more? Then if anyone else would like to read, we've got just over 10 minutes. Just read one more, Mother 138.
Yes, text 138. What can I say about these activities of the Lord in Vraj? One who carefully thinks about them will conclude that they are supreme in all respects. As soon as words describing those pastimes enter the ears, a flood of pure love spontaneously arises in the heart. Commentary. This verse and the next summarizes the topic of Vilasha Lakshmi, the splendor of Krishna's pastimes. Anyone who gives thoughtful attention to the pastimes of Vraj will conclude that they are more wonderful than the deeds of all the other incarnations of the Supreme Lord. Even the mere words that narrate those Vraj pastimes, beginning with the deliverance of Putana, have a magical power to awaken prema in the heart prema begins to awaken when those narrations simply enter one's ears. What to speak of what happens when a thoughtful devotee contemplates them with the attention? Without doubting, we should accept that such an effect is possible by the innate potency of the words themselves. Praktya. Is it praktya? Certain combination of words have a natural power to evoke spiritual emotions, just as fire has its natural inalienable potencies of heat and light.
Okay. So yeah. So anyone anyone experiencing this out there? Love, pure love, spontaneity rising in the heart. But this is ultimately, at the end of the day, this is our only occupation, is to hear about Krishna. It's the whole point of Krishna consciousness, is to bring us to the point of always hearing about the pastimes of Krishna. Yeah. And then as we hear and hear, then we'll develop more pity and affection for Krishna. But we have to start somewhere. Yeah. So okay. Anyone would like to read? Any questions or comments? Mother Sahachari, please. Yeah, we haven't heard you read for some time. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Text 139. Very fortunate is one who uses logical arguments to make known the supreme glories of Krishna's pastimes, and to one who becomes full of prema simply by hearing a few words about those pastimes, I offer my humble obeisance. Commentary. It's wonderful when pure love of God is inspired by thoughtful analysis of the meaning of Krishna's pastimes. Much more wonderful, however, is the spontaneous response of pure devotees who are overcome by a flood of prema as soon as they hear the bare syllable of those pastimes. Such devotees need only hear the name Putana or a few words from Srimad Bhagavatam for a sequence of ecstatic memories to arise in their hearts. Narada considers those devotees his worshipable superiors, for they have the priceless treasure of natural responsiveness to Krishna Katha.
Yeah, so this is what described in the last verse. This is speaking about those who do have prema, and this is the effect it has on them. Yeah, like again, I think we mentioned a little while ago, the verse of Putana, Aho Bakayam Stana Kala Kotam. And again, I remember there's one devotee who heard that verse and he went into great ecstatic transformations in Chaitanya Lila. Anyone can cite that. We've mentioned it a few weeks ago, I think.
Pundarika Vidyanidhi.
Pundarik Vijayanidhi, yeah. He was externally keeping himself like a gross materialist. So I think it's Gadadhar had doubts. Who was he with? Gadadhar and
Mukunda.
yeah, Mukunda. Their habit was whenever a great Vaishnava would come or they would hear of a great Vaishnava, they would go to see and hear from that great Vaishnava. That would be their habit. Oh, this devotee is so ecstatic. So, okay, where does he stay? We're going to go get his mercy. So then they went, and Gadadhar saw this, we won't have time to tell the details. Devotees like telling it in classes. He's laying on this sage lounge. He's spitting out, what's it called? What do you chew and spit? It's called pan. Yeah, and he has oil he's got oil in his hair, and he's like dressed in silks, and he's got servants everywhere. So the shadow of doubt clouds Gadadhar's heart. This is Vaishnava. And then Mukunda, he could see. As far as I understood, they didn't speak, but Mukunda just looked at Gadadhar. He could see the expression on his face. So he said, "You just recite this verse." Yeah. And he did. Aho bakayam stana kula kutam. And as soon as that sound enter into Pundarik Vijayanidhi's ears, exactly what we're reading here happened. Just the syllables, it is it set off a whole wave of emotions. So he's a prema bhakta. Yeah. All right.
He took initiation from Gadadhar, didn't
Yeah, then then Gadadhar took initiation from him.
Oh, was it like the other way?
Yeah, Gadadhar took initiation from Pundarik Vijayanidhi. Yeah. To kind of counter that offense in one sense, but also because he was greatly overwhelmed by being in his association. So he took diksha, as I understand, initiation from Pundarik Vijayanidhi. Okay, so 140. You can go.
Yeah. 140. How can my tongue dare try to touch the greatness of Krishna's dearmost position, which stands out from all else, which benefits only him, and which always rests playfully in his lotus hands? Commentary. The sound of Krishna's flute attracted the young gopis to join Krishna in the rasa dance, and after the rasa dance, that sound lingered in their memory. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 35, the gopis' remembrance of that flute song is captured in 11 pairs of verses, of which this pair is the first. The gopis said, when Mukunda vibrates the flute, he has placed to his lips, stopping its holes with his tender fingers. He rests his left cheek on his left arm and makes his eyebrows dance. At that time, the demigoddesses traveling in the sky with their husbands, the Siddhas, become amazed. As those ladies listen, they are embarrassed to find their minds yielding to the pursuit of lusty desires, and in their distress, they are unaware that the belts of their garments are loosening. Bhagavatam 10:35-3.
Yeah, sorry to keep disturbing, but there's one deity. Have you seen that? So Krishna's like this. He's got his head right, and his eyes are like he's playing his flute. There's one. Have you seen the deity in New Mayapur? What's it called? Radha Govinda. Is that the name?
Radha Govinda Madhava.
Radha Govinda. He's exactly like this verse. His head is like, and I think they have to tie it up so his turban doesn't fall off. He's like this,
Yeah.
His head is really Tribanga, really. So I think this verse is this deity. Was it Radha Madhava called?
Radha Govinda Madhava.
Radha Govinda Madhava. I would say that Radha Govinda Madhava are kind of I was just speculating that they
And
was
they look
made by the
exactly like
chapatis based on this description. Krishna's got his left cheek on his. It's and it's not easy to do. You can try. Put your left cheek directly on your, and he's playing his flute, and at the same time his feet are, they're crossed over, and his fingers are dancing on his flute, and his eyes are, intoxicated, looking left and right. So Govinda Mahadeva. Yes.
Radharani looks exactly like Radha Madhava, Radharani.
Okay. Radha Madhav in Mayapur.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
She's quite tall.
Yeah. So next time we go to New Mayapur, you can think of this description. Yeah. You can read it.
Well, everybody can go because Radharani Nish was organizing the retreat there in September.
Yeah. Retreat happening in later this year, isn't it?
September.
Yeah. September. Oh.
Maybe I'll put it on the group.
Yeah. Okay, you can continue reading, Mabasahachari, glorifying Krishna's flute.
Okay, glorifying Krishna's flute. Srila Sanatana Goswami here begins a 17-verse discussion of the next topic, Asesha Mahatva Madhuri, the sweetness of all Krishna's excellent qualities. Text 140 through 149 specifically glorify Krishna's flute. Everything about Krishna's flute is exceptional. Since there is no other object like it in the entire world, there is nothing to compare it to. One can understand the greatness of that flute only by studying the amazing effects its sounds produces. No one but Krishna could own such a flute, and indeed, Krishna never lets it out of his hands. Rather, he takes every opportunity to allow the flute to drink the nectar of his lips.
Actually, sometimes the gopis steal the flute. Many times they steal the flute. There's so many pastimes where the gopis steal the flute and they hand it to each other. As Krishna approaches one gopi, then one gopi hands it to another gopi, and there's pastimes where they say, "Why are you so attached to this piece of wood with holes in it? Let's just throw it. Let's just throw it in a Jamuna. It's useless. It's good for nothing other than fire. We can burn nice fire with this flute. Why are you so attached to it?" And as we know, Krishna, sometimes Radharani's man is so strong, no matter what Krishna does, then she doesn't want anything to do with Krishna. Keep away from me. Don't look at me. I don't want anything to do with you. And even Krishna speaks to Lalita and Vishaka and the Manjaris, but sometimes Radharani is no. But then he has one last resort. That's his flute playing. And he takes his flute, and Radharani's in a man somewhere, and then Krishna plays the flute and enters her ears and completely changes her heart, and she becomes, like that. Very much wants to meet with Krishna. So it's his last. So that's why he's so attached to it as well. And there's some wonderful pastimes in the Veda Gita about the flute. Many pastimes to go steal the flute, etc. And he has many different flutes, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Murli is one. Murli. Vamsi is another one. Anyone know another flute? All different sizes.
Sammohini,
Sammohini is another one.
the
Yeah.
longest 12-inch one.
12-inch one. Yeah. Londonishwara has different flutes. We have a silver one. We have a gold one. We have.
He had a wooden one.
Yeah, we had a wooden one. I was inspired to get a wooden flute for Krishna, but it was too short. So devotees don't put it on so much. Yeah, but it's a major paraphernalia of Krishna, is his flute. Yeah. Oh, time's run out, Krishna. Let's just read one more verse. Oh, you can read this verse here.
Text 142. The words of the Upanishads and the other Vedic texts come forth from the Lord's own divine mouth, but simply by contact with his bimba-red lips, that wooden object.
Oh, sorry, am I in the right place? Which page are we on? What verse?
142.
142. Okay, excuse me, go on.
Yeah. By simply contact with his bimba-red lips, That wooden object, the all-enchanting little bamboo flute, has created a sound more nectarian than the words of the Vedas and any other form of speech. Commentary. Narada has great admiration for Krishna's flute, and so he calls it by the affectionate diminutive name Vamsika, little bamboo flute.
Bamboo
At the
flute.
same time, however, he cannot help but feel jealous of the flute, intimate relationship with Krishna, which someone like himself can never have. Therefore, he also uses the somewhat derogatory term Dharavi, wooden object.
So the gopis as well, they have this issue. They're quite envious of the flute. And they want to burn it, they want to throw it, and it's stealing the nectar which belongs to them, the whole pastime. And sometimes the flute plays on its own accord when Krishna's dancing. There's a whole wonderful pastime where Krishna's dancing, and then the flute starts playing on its own accord, accompanying Krishna's dancing. Yeah, so much, so wonderful. All right, let's press the pause button, but never the stop button. Okay, just press pause and or press unpause next Thursday and continue. Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna. Have a wonderful
Hare
devotional
Krishna.
weekend, and let's get together next week for more Krishna Katha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Murli Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Guru, the Vaishnavis. Hare Bol.
Hare